From Las Vegas, it's Let's Talk News Now with Rick and Ella.
And welcome back to Let's Talk News Now. Because if you're talking about it, well, we're talking about it right here. And of course, we're taping our show here at the Queen Victoria Pub. Yes, absolutely beautiful. Inside the Riviera on the beautiful Las Vegas Boulevard. It's kind of nice working on the Strip.
That was so chocolate velvety on the beautiful Las Vegas Boulevard. It doesn't sound that same way when I say it.
I think we need to have Gary introduce it in his Frank Sinatra singing.
Yes.
We could do that.
Yeah.
We should.
We could do that. You keep leaking out the next segments, okay? All right. Angela, you've been with us now for a couple of weeks.
Right.
And a lot of people will recognize your name or may recognize your face for one reason or another, but we've never really gotten into the crux of what you do and what it is that you're so passionate about. And there's obviously many things. You're multifaceted, including writing your articles weekly for the Vegas News Review, vegasnewsreview.com. You stop in there and read some of Angela's most recent articles. Absolutely fantastic. But for lack of better words, your notoriety came on a national basis through a real travesty.
Right.
And that was the death of a young lady that you had actually babysat for.
Right. We're family friends. I babysat her when she was young, and then when she was grown and I had a daughter, she babysat my daughter until we moved out of state.
And that was Jody?
Jody Sanderholm.
Okay, and you were then the facilitator, what has now become known as Jody's Law.
Right. Right.
First off, thank you.
Thank you.
For anybody out there that has ever had the experience of a stalker, who has ever had people in their lives that they didn't want in their lives,
Right.
and to be able to set up
why
some,
don't you
to
actually
do that.
tell us a little bit about how this came along and how it got here?
Jody was killed in a small town in Kansas, of all places. 12,000 people was the population, and she went missing in the middle of the day. And so my dad called me, I was living out of state at the time, the next day and said Jody was missing, and I honestly thought nothing happens in a town like this.
Right.
You know, so it'll be okay. Nothing happens in a town like this. And he started then preparing me, saying that no, they have somebody in custody and the outcome does not look like it's going to be good, you know, and this person has been accused of stalking over 20 other women, but they could never make an arrest because at the time the Kansas laws called for there to be a credible threat. And the easiest way for me to describe credible threat is
So I was just going to ask, what's a credible threat?
When I lived in Kansas, I was on city council, and we had talked to some kids. They wanted a skateboard park, and it was a small town then too. And we told them, you go out and raise half the money, we'll put in half the money, you'll get your skateboard park. They came back, they hadn't raised it, so we told them no. Right. They went online and started saying, we're going to go in and shoot all the city council members and naming us by name. So I'm like, Chief of Police, go get them.
Right.
You know, this is real simple, you know, because I was scared.
Right.
And under the eyes of the law, it was not a credible threat. That, you know, since they were children, even though in Kansas, just about every kid has access to a gun, since they were children and on and on and on. So that was the way the law was written at the time Jody was killed for stalking. And because of that, while the police knew this man was a problem, they couldn't go make an arrest until it was too late for Jody.
And then their premise was, at the time the laws read credible threat. So I'm going to move under the basis that, you know, if someone is following you and they're on public property, and the idea of sticks and stones, but maybe break my nose, names will never hurt me, that a credible threat at that time was simply, they would almost have to put a gun to your head, or they'd have to put a knife to your throat before.
A specific threat would have to be made. And just to be clear, Jody was not aware that she was being stalked, it doesn't seem, but he had been stalking her since she was 10 years old. She died when she was 19.
Oh.
So this is a man that had a serious problem with understanding boundaries.
And that brings up the question of how do you protect yourself when you feel like you're legitimately under threat by somebody who's causing you anxiety and fear? And
I think it's always, you know, being aware of your surroundings, whether you know that you have a stalker or not. It's being aware of what's happening around you so that you are aware when that happens, and being prepared to, I think one of the most difficult things for a stalking victim is to come out to your friends and say, I'm being stalked, this is what's happening, this is who I think it is, please help me stay safe and be aware with me of what's happening around me and my home.
Now, we have only 1 minute left, and I know that there was a lot to talk about this right now, but the process you went through then to make it a national law,
Well,
correct?
it's Kansas and New Mexico right now.
Okay, and
So-
the process you went through to do that is to do what? You contacted legislators, you turned around and got a law written and so on.
I'm a marketing person, so I'm a mouth, and
Good for you.
I think that
Keep talking, let's talk news now.
Right.
I think that it comes down to ignorance is bliss, kind of. I didn't know that it was supposed to be so hard, and so I got them each passed it within a year, and just off social media and putting the word out there and getting that groundswell to make other people say too, this has to be changed. Why wouldn't this be changed?
Okay, we're going to be taking a break in just a moment, but I also want to let our viewers know that tomorrow we're going to be talking more. Matter of fact, about some specific cases that you still work on, and about what people can do, not only in understanding stalking better, but also what they can do in order to be able to protect themselves and help others. And I think it's absolutely fantastic. In the meantime, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, well, we've got a very, very special guest for a great entertainment.